A lot can happen in a week. Some of it good, some of it bad, some of it downright ugly. When faced with intriguing developments in the week's news, we turn to a rotating panel of non-experts to parse the good, the bad, and the ugly of it all. On today's panel, Marcus Davis, owner of the Breakfast Klub restaurant, Vivian Ho, health economist at Rice University and Baylor College of Medicine, and Marco Roberts, chairman of the Texas Conservative Liberty Forum. Marcus, Vivian, Marco, welcome to Houston Matters.
Thanks,
Craig.
Glad to be here.
Panel, Texas A&M professor Martin Peterson's making some last-minute changes to his Philosophy 111 class, which starts next week. The class, called Contemporary Moral Issues, will carry on with tweaks that sidestep certain contemporary moral issues. As the Houston Chronicle's Samantha Ketterer reported Wednesday, Peterson's been told not to teach certain writing from Plato that might violate new university system rules against teaching race or gender ideology or topics concerning sexual orientation. He says the new policy just adopted and tweaked this fall would, in his personal opinion, challenge both academic freedom and free speech rights. In case you're wondering, the offending passages date back about 2,400 years and suggest there can be more than two biological sexes and offer a favorable view of homosexuality. The university says in a statement that it is teaching other works by Plato in a variety of courses. After receiving an ultimatum to remove the material from his syllabus or be reassigned, Peterson relented and is replacing the verboten lessons with ones on, you guessed it, free speech and academic freedom. I wonder what example he might cite carefully in that lecture. Plato has been censored, says a Texas A&M professor. Is this good, bad, or ugly? Marcus Davis.
Wow. Socratically, one must ask, is it good? Is it not bad? Is it not ugly? Or is it not, in fact, good, bad, and ugly?
It could be a Gadley. You see a Gadley in this.
It is, if nothing else, interesting. Interesting because Plato was a student of Socrates. And was not Socrates a proponent of free speech, as evidenced, by his behavior and even his accusers? And was Socrates also not a proponent of censorship, as evidenced in Plato's Republic? But Socrates was also a believer in truth, as evidenced in the trial where he decided to speak his truth even until death. So he believed in free speech. He believed in censorship. He believed in going down the path in spite of the consequences. I guess the professor should give the best lesson by following Socrates and experience the consequences and teach the students the better lesson. Or maybe there is no answer.
Much to ponder.
Much to ponder.
I had a feeling once I devised the idea of a topic surrounding philosophy, this might happen. Good, bad, or ugly, Vivian Ho?
Look, I just couldn't have said it better than Marcus in terms of what has happened here. I'll just add that as a taxpayer, I am annoyed that someone is being paid to audit Plato and Socrates and what is a history lesson, really, and just a foundation of Western society. I will also say that when this stuff gets out, it discourages the top academics from even considering coming here to Texas to work. I've been on the phone trying to call top people from across the country saying, we've got this great position at Rice. How about you apply? And this stuff discourages them to no end, and it's very disappointing.
All right. Good, bad, or ugly, Marco Roberts.
Well, I do think it's ugly, unfortunate. This shouldn't be happening. Certainly, I think the Board of Regents have been failing the school in multiple ways. First of all, originally by allowing what was in some ways indoctrination, and now not understanding the difference between indoctrination and just teaching the fact that there are different ways of thinking. It's one thing if you go to a course and you go to a class and the professor's a communist and then punishes you for not supporting communism versus teaching communism as a way of a political thought process. And I think that, the Board of Regents failed initially because there was some sort of some of pressure on students that people documented, which was sort of a reaction. Now we have this sort of counter reaction, which is also unhelpful. Basically, it's kind of like someone saying to you, "The house is on fire. What do we should do about it?" Yeah, they're gonna burn the house, right? They're gonna burn the house, and then the answer is, "Well, let's burn it ourselves." Well, that's no better than the original thing. We still have the same problem, which is people trying to suppress the right of folks to have different opinions. And so it's unfortunate that people just can't realize that you can talk about ideas and not necessarily adopting the ideas. Now, I will say, I don't, having studied Plato a little bit in college, I don't remember him supporting or thinking that there were more than two biological sexes. He did talk about transgender characters, but not in the sense of these being biological sexes. I think he understood it more. And it wasn't necessarily a flattering a use. I wouldn't, some people say, "Oh, there's three sexes according to Plato." Not the way you would want to think about it. Let's put it that way. Right. But I agree with Marcus and Vivian here. It's unfortunate that in our society right now, what we need to double down is on free speech, civility, and respecting other people's opinions.
I did find it interesting that when Socrates did believe in Plato's Republic, the statement was, when the speech is not good for society, it should be censored. That's the question.
Well, it is true that Plato was not quite as free-thinking as people. I mean, there are elements in Plato's Republic that are, some people call it a militaristic republic, right? And there are reasons why you would be concerned, because he definitely gives the guardians, which today would be soldiers, more rights than the general citizenry. And we wouldn't be comfortable with that today. He definitely he did view males and females as basically almost interchangeable. I think the only thing he said is that he did say women were the weaker ones, but other than that, they were exactly the same. And so he had this sort of interchangeable aspect of the two sexes. I think that on the surface, a lot of people may find things attractive about Plato, but when you start getting some of the details, some of the things you may not like.
Sounds like I need to read up on Plato a little bit. I feel a little out of my element listening to the two of you.
I know. I'm thinking Marco can, teach the course instead of Dr. Peterson.
Yeah. I don't know. Would you teach it any differently than he is?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what Dr. Peterson does, but I definitely agree with his right to teach it.
At the very least, a guest lecturer.
And his right to continue in spite of the consequences.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that is the greater lesson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who knows?
Panel, HHS and the Department of Agriculture released new dietary guidelines this week, which prioritize protein and, quote, healthy fats and limits on ultra-processed foods and added sugar. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. summed it up in a White House briefing Wednesday by saying, "My message is clear, eat real food." As NPR's Allison Aubrey reported Wednesday, the new guidelines also update the classic food pyramid, which is now inverted and places meats, cheese, and certain fruits and vegetables in the widest section at the top and places smaller portions of whole grains at the bottom. It flips the long-standing visual many Americans learned in school and moves away from a more recent circular plate graphic. What it doesn't do is satisfy everybody. As Dr. Walter Willett from the Harvard School of Public Health tells CNN, the new pyramid's emphasis on lots of dairy and meats disregards evidence of nuts and soy being sources of protein that better protect from cardiovascular disease. New nutrition guidelines push meat and dairy over nuts and berries. Is this good, bad, or ugly? Vivian.
I think this is a bit ugly, simply because when you think about what RFK and Brooke Rollins, head of USDA, could actually do to improve the health of Americans, this is just the smallest part of it. And let's face it, no one pays attention to the food pyramid or the food pie or anything. They just don't. And I actually went and looked at it. And, yes, it has like a big steak at the top, but it also has this giant piece of broccoli and these carrots. And there actually are grapes, there are fruits, there are nuts in the thing, and most people just don't pay attention. So I wish the press would pay more attention to the harmful things that these two individuals, they could reduce the public's use of processed meat. They actually could, they could fund SNAP so that low-income people would have the money to be able to buy meat, which is so important in terms of protein. And instead we get caught up in this little battle.
Okay, good, bad, or ugly. Marco.
I think it's good, but for some of the reasons that Vivian has mentioned here, because she's right. I don't think that a lot of people pay attention to the food pyramid except from this discussion. So in fact, by having this thing being updated, we are actually discussing what's good eating, nutrition. I think we're having, and you see all these articles popping up, and so that's a good discussion to have. Right now, we're talking about what actually makes good nutrition for individuals. I do think the whole idea of a pyramid is a little simplistic because I do think that it varies on who you are and what age you're in, and it just starts to give you a one size fits all. I don't think that's actually that good. I think you should consult with your doctor sometimes if things aren't working for you. But as far as the nuts and soy, I don't think so. I'm not. I'm sorry, just not into that. Nuts are okay. Soy just not good for me. But there are other things about the new pyramid that I do. I agree with the part about avoiding the processed foods. I think we haven't had enough of that. And while I think that there are some things that RFK has done that are questionable and people should be asking questions because they don't seem to make sense in some cases, the other good thing that he has done, though, is he has brought more attention, though, to the processed foods, the additives, the colorings, which are bad. And I think a lot of people agree with that part of it. So overall, I think it's a good thing because I think we are talking a lot more about nutrition than we had before.
Okay. Good, bad, or ugly. Marcus.
Yeah.
You may need to elaborate a bit.
I'm at a loss. I different than my colleagues. I grew up in classrooms where the food pyramid was taught, and while we may not talk about it as adults, the American lifestyle was built, eating style was built around this food pyramid. That came as a result of big business lobbying for their products to be eaten, to be consumed. We didn't know that processed food was not good for us. We thought that it was good for us because the government told us it was good for us. And why did the government tell us it was good for us? Because they were paid to do so. Big business has always paid for the research that supports its own values. And so we have to question whether or not that's the case here. Is the meat industry behind this? We don't know. Now, I agree with Marco, and I agree with Vivian. I eat walnuts every morning without fail because I understand the health benefits of them. I have a bag on my counter. I grab them out, and I'll eat them before I eat meat. I just wonder how much of this is driven by from a place of authenticity or a place of dollars and political motivation. To Marco's point, we do have a nation that has grown up on processed foods, colored foods. It's amazing when you look at things that are allowed in the United States of America in one product, but that same very product in another country, they can't put certain components inside of it. So it is great that we're having this conversation in this nation about better eating, healthy. I just hope and pray that it will one day be disconnected from ulterior motives. But because we have a government that is run by lobbyists and big business, I don't think so.
You may have just teed up our next segment. More food news. McDonald's is pushing back this week against claims made in a class action lawsuit that alleges the fast food chain has misled customers about its McRib sandwich. The lawsuit was filed last month in a federal court in Illinois and argues that despite its name and distinctive shape, its meat patty has been deliberately crafted to resemble a rack of pork ribs, but does not contain any actual pork rib meat. And in fact, the suit alleges is actually made up of lower grade pork products like pork shoulder, heart, tripe, and scalded stomach. McDonald's denies that claim and tells USA Today we are committed to using real quality ingredients across our entire menu and that the McRib is made with 100% pork. McDonald's USA further writes that the company has always been transparent about our ingredients so guests can make the right choice for them. McDonald's is being sued over what may or may not really be in a McRib. Is this good, bad, or ugly? Marco.
Oh, I think it's actually, well, it's good. If you're looking for remedies, it's bad that we have to do this. But I think it's good that we're looking at this because I noticed that the response from McDonald's did not in any way refute at all what the claim is, right? Because the claim is they're saying you're not using pork rib meat. You're using parts of the pork, not pork rib meat. And their response is, absolutely, we're using 100% pork. So as you can see, it sounds like it's like a semantic game. Hopefully you won't notice that we didn't say we're using 100% pork rib meat. Well, that's the issue. So it already makes me wonder that the lawsuit has merit because otherwise they would have denied it right flat out. And I myself have to tell people, look, it's you're paying $3 to $5 for this thing. So if you're ever going to a real barbecue place where they sell you real ribs, there's no way you're going to get that for $3 or $5. Impossible. So I would be suspicious of any sandwich that says ribs and it's $3 to $5. So I don't know, I don't know what the marketing should be on this. Maybe they should be a little more transparent. We'll figure it out too. So again, that's one good thing about the suit. It'll expose this and we'll figure out. But I think that I am suspicious of McDonald's marketing. Yes.
All right. Good, bad, or ugly. Marcus.
This is McSilly.
Oh, goodness. Did you practice that?
I did. I threw a couple of different words together and I said
Okay,
McSilly is the
McSilly.
best one that sticks, right? Why is this McSilly? I'm going to concur with Marco. Because McDonald's response was simply, we use 100% pork. It did not deny which part of the pork. I guess that's what they were saying. Yes, maybe it's an admission that they're using 100% of the pig, in fact, to make the McDonald's.
That's an interpretation. Yes.
So it's McSilly because McDonald's came up with this lame response, which came off as an admission. It's also McSilly because their statement also said that we have always prided ourselves. I'm born in 1970s, an 80s baby. I grew up loving the Golden Arches, right? I grew up in the era where
Me too.
Where Eddie
Yep.
Murphy stood and made the best exclamation ever. I got McDonald. I loved McDonald's as a kid. And as an adult, I continued to, through nostalgia, familiarity, convenience, pull up in the drive-thru and order my favorite quarter pounder with cheese and get it and take a big bite of it. Not one single time have I ever said, now that's quality. McDonald's has never been known for quality. That is a preposterous statement. Third, the silliness comes from nobody, as a former McRibian, nobody ever believed that the McRib was in fact actually ribs. If they do, I suggest they try some real Texas barbecue.
How about just a real quick good, bad, or ugly from you, Vivian? I hear the music telling us we're out of time.
Mick ridiculous, like Marcus.
Aha. Well played. Well played.
Touche. Great one.
Vivian Ho is a health economist at Rice and Baylor College of Medicine. Marcus Davis owns the Breakfast Klub restaurant. Marco Roberts is chairman of the Texas Conservative Liberty Forum. Vivian, Marcus, Marco, thank you all very much.
McRib.
Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
McRib.